Hello everyone, this is Ronan Blue, just taking my daily walk here in Hua Hin, Thailand. And today's topic would be in getting into bad debt. So the problem with debt is a lot of people believe that getting into a little bit of debt is okay. But in actuality, when you rack up your credit card, it all really adds up and it becomes problematic in the longer term, right? We make those small little purchases on our credit cards and it builds up. And with the feeling of maybe it will benefit you in the shorter term, that instant gratification. But there is something about debt that tempts all of us in spending more and believing that we can afford it, right? I mean, we have that full-time job and we get paid on a bi-weekly or monthly basis, and we essentially believe that we can always pay back the debts that we accumulate by buying all of the things that we want. But one of the things about debt is that we get that emotional high of having to buy that new gadget or whatever that's popular right now. So that's essentially what makes debt so appealing, and we don't really think too much about it. I mean, I wouldn't say it's appealing, but I'm saying that we don't mind getting into a little bit of debt in order to satisfy that moment. But the thing is, when you buy those types of products, I mean, in the short term, yeah, you get that instant gratification, but in the longer term, when you see that credit card at the end of the month, you'll think otherwise. I'm gonna basically state the obvious, and getting into debt costs a lot of money, right? You're essentially creating that money that's come from nowhere, actually, from the air. So that's essentially where you know, it's so easy to just swipe that card, and that's one of the problems that people have. I mean, it's so easy to swipe that card whenever you want something. But another problem that you can face is some of those credit cards have really high interest rates. So that's another big problem, because some people only pay the minimum amount and the interest just racks up. I mean, actually we had an issue the other day with our credit card. We issued a new credit card for the both of us, and they charged us like quite a percentage actually. It was like $40 for a late charge of 2 days, and we called them, and there's a huge misunderstanding basically. We actually register for a prepaid authorization, and they told us that it's going to take 30 business days to initiate, and we actually believed it was 30 days. So we outright believed that the pre-authorized was already authorized, but in fact at the end of the month it wasn't, and we were charged $40 for just 2 days of a late payment. But we, you know, told them the situation, and they actually waived the fees for us, so that was pretty awesome. But the point is, there's a huge amount of, you know, penalty if you don't pay those credit cards right away. So you want to be mindful to at least pay the minimum amount. Of course, the full amount is always best to do to completely stay out of debt. Another problem for getting into bad debt is borrowing from yourself, meaning that you might have a little bit of savings, but you just pull out of it to you know, gratify yourself for that very moment. So that's another big reason why that debt is an issue as well. So you're digging into your savings, which is not a very good thing to do for the longer term, for sure, especially if you're accumulating some sort of interest off of it. The thing is, when you do borrow money, like, do you really want to spend the money on something that really doesn't have any longer term benefit for you? I mean, in the short term it may, but I'm kind of repeating myself from before. But yeah, you want to consider whether or not it's worth having to take that money out from your wallet, from your savings, and then to see whether or not it'll be worth it in the longer term for you. Essentially what's happening is you're borrowing money that could essentially grow you even further wealth with the yield returns. and you're taking that away, you know, the dividends. I always like to have that example of $1,000. You know, would you rather spend $1,000 on something that's gonna break down later, or would you rather, you know, invest $1,000 and earn $5 every month for the rest of your life? But another problem that you may face is the high interest loans that you may have as well. So the item that you purchase might actually be more expensive than, you know, you initially thought, because it's kind of a waste of money to have to pay even more for the loan that you borrow your funds at. Another issue is that having that debt keeps you from you know, achieving your financial goals as well. So having that constant debt being accumulated month after month after month, you know, no matter how small they may appear, it's almost like a small little leak in a tire. That's how I like to describe it. But you want to be mindful really of what you spend. Those monthly debt purchases that you make, it limits you, right? And especially around the holiday season, it's very much unavoidable. I actually read a newspaper article saying that people are still paying for the Christmas gifts from a year ago. What else that can do for you is that it can keep you from owning a home. Your credit card debts and your loans, as well as your student loans, like all of those in combination could potentially not get you in being able to purchase a home. And it's pretty nuts to think about. You can't even have a roof over your head. What will end up happening is you'll probably end up having to rent, and won't be able to have your own home, and you'll probably most likely be a renter for the rest of your life. I mean, you know, there's advantages of renting versus owning a home as well. So I understand the differences as well. Having a debt could also lead to medical problems or mental illness as well. You know, if you have too much debt, it means that you're gonna have to get a part-time job, maybe another job, 2 jobs together with your full-time job. You're pretty much working all day long just to be able to pay off your debt. So it really adds to your overall, you know, conditions of mental health. Another thing it can do is it can cause problems within your relationships as well. So it could be your marriage or with the partner that you have. But it could be, you know, that one partner spends more than the other, leading to disruptions within your relationship. You know, sometimes those financial talks are necessary to find compromises between each other, but sometimes it's hard, right? Because one person is addicted to all of the materialism that's offered in this world. It's hard and it's tempting because we all want that self-gratification. You know, we're human beings, we're always searching for happiness, even though we know it's only temporary by buying stuff. What it can do also is it could hurt your credit score as well, right? Exactly about 30% of it. So you want to be mindful for that as well. Whenever you want to get a loan in the future, you definitely want to have a good credit score. And being in too much debt, you know, it's not going to look good for those institutions to even lend you any money at all in the future. If you really want to work on reducing your debt, what you want to definitely do is you want to make a list between all your debts and your income, right? You would never want to spend above your means. So it's simple mathematics, and you'll never be able to figure this out unless you have a spreadsheet of some sort. And if you want to go old school, you can even write it down. But it's important that you do keep track of everything that you spend. You know, not a lot of people like doing this, but what you need to do is you need to analyze yourself. You know, and what I mean by that is you want to analyze where your money is going to, right? So it does require budgeting, definitely budgeting. And it requires you to really be mindful for the things that you purchase, right? And it might even require you to, you know, adopt some of that frugality as well. being a minimalist. That might be something you might consider as well. It might be a huge transition for you. It might take some time to adapt to it, but overall it's gonna really make a positive impact on you in the longer term. Of course, there is the option of having to get that part-time job, you know, earning more to be able to pay off all of the debt that you have. Earning more means that you can spend more potentially, but you might actually start something else, like a further treadmill existence on having to pay back even more debt because you're earning more. But it really depends on the person's lifestyle. You know, some people recognize their situation, some people don't, and they normalize all of the debt that they have in their life. It's a pretty hard society to be in, you know, especially when the society encourages you to spend. Like your friends, your family, everyone around you, your co-workers, everyone wants you to spend. And I mean, overall it's good for the economy how everyone's spending, and it brings out more of you know, a surplus overall for the US economy there. But if you look at it from a personal perspective of your own personal debt, then it becomes an issue, right? It doesn't, even though, you know, you have that mindset that it's good for the economy, it is, but is it good for you? When you look at your personal finance, right? You want to make sure that you're budgeting so it's realistic in your situation. Well, I think I end my vlog here today. Tell me what you think of getting into bad debt in the comment section below. If you like this vlog, please don't forget to give me a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell for more of my coming content here. Thanks for watching my vlog. Be free, gain wealth, and travel far.